Good evening. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, joined by Graham Doty and Jay Greason, here to talk about Florida's romp over South Carolina and the Mississippi State Texas A&M game that hasn't happened yet. We can maybe preview that a little bit, talk about ramifications. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me tonight. Had a busy day of baseball in Hoover, and I thought Florida tonight looked as impressive as we've seen anybody look so far.
Well, you were there, Chris. Like, what were your main takeaways, impressions, sights, scenes in Hoover?
Florida hit the ball so well tonight, I almost wondered if it had the pitches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, by the way, Paul Mainieri just had his post-game, I guess, postseason press conference, and it's kind of making the rounds on social media, especially South Carolina social media. He just flat out said he's not making any changes staff-wise, and he's bringing everybody back. So they just had the worst team ERA in program history, and like the hot topic issue with South Carolina fans is pitching coach Terry Rooney. And like Paul's a very loyal guy, and Terry Rooney has been with him going back to the Notre Dame days. So he's just not gonna do that to somebody that he's been with for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at it, and Terry Rooney may be as bad as his job as Ed Rooney was at his job trying to corral Ferris Bueller after he took nine times, Grace. Look, South Carolina walked into way too many OK corrals with a water gun and a butter knife. And I mean, I'm also a little puzzled by Paul's decision to say in his time away, and this is the quote that's going to linger, in his time away, SEC baseball has gotten way better and the game has gotten way tougher. I mean, nobody wants to hear that when you're bringing back a guy who's got hardware, because you're thinking he's going to bring more hardware. You're thinking you're hiring championship experience, and he theoretically, point blank says, he cracks a fortune cookie and says, the game has passed me by.
Yeah. Do you have quotes from the press conference by chance?
Let me pull it up. It's, by the way, did you see any South Carolina media there?
I saw one, and I left early. I knew the rain was coming and wanted to get out a little early so I didn't get caught in Hoover traffic for an hour.
Yeah.
Get rested, get this started. So I saw one guy there that I recognized from South Carolina. I'm not saying that was all there was, but I think interest in that program has diminished just so much.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was surprised. The season attendance was released earlier this week. They were top 8 in the country.
Wow. Well, was that
Now,
tickets sold or
yeah, how much of that is tickets sold versus actual butts and seats? Because every South Carolina game I watched, it was not a packed house.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing. I would watch them pan the lower levels just in the angle of the camera where you saw the batter, and I just never. I saw more empty than full.
Yeah. All right, here's a quote. Paul Mainieri believes that he has the full support of South Carolina's administration after they finished with a losing season. So they finished one game under 500.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think I just wonder if it'd be better for everyone if they moved on. And I've got nothing against Paul Mainieri. He's been great to Alfred. Who's worked with them a lot. Never heard a bad word about Paul Mainieri.
Right.
So I don't say that with any any joy or intent, but it is what it is.
Here's another quote. I'm an optimist by nature, and I thought we had what it took to compete in the league, and obviously we didn't. I'm disappointed, but I'm not discouraged.
Yeah.
Well, you got to
Next,
ask yourself. You got to ask
Go ahead.
yourself when you're making these accounting decisions: is the money better spent to hit the reset button or getting in the portal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fair. I watched him tonight, and look, Florida's got what, 4 starters out or whatever the number is now, and the talent discrepancy was still tremendous. I mean, Florida's had dudes at the plate. You know, you felt like any at bat they could leave the yard. Which, and maybe that's as much about Florida right now as it is against Carolina, but Florida was just dominant tonight. Brandon Stone got through the lineup once and was okay. Second time around, he just got clocked.
So South Carolina, they threw 9 pitchers today. They had 11 hits, but they only scored 3 runs.
Well, their hits were all singles, I think.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you're right about Florida. Boy, their injury report was absolutely brutal today.
Yeah.
But hey, they needed the.
I think
Ooh.
Rams Wi-Fi is frozen.
Well, he just went into old fashioned mime. I mean, I'm in a box.
I mean, hey, that's 2 out of 3 of us doing hotel Wi-Fi tonight.
Yeah,
So,
I'm at home in the kitchen. We're good. So,
yeah.
Well, you're 100% right about it. It looked like the top 9 players on the field were in white uniforms with blue lettering and orange trim. And
Right.
I mean, into that thing, I mean, you have to ask yourself, I mean, and maybe the South Carolina leadership is looking at it. And Graham, I was about to say, I just said that probably the top 9 players on the field were in Florida uniforms. And the South Carolina leadership may convince themselves that this is a talent issue, not a leadership issue. But eventually that comes back to a leadership issue. And truth be told, we've talked about it all year. Of the 15 teams that you have to take seriously in this league, South Carolina being far and away 15th is as surprising as anything else in this league, with the possible exception of Texas A&M bottoming out.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say A&M is number 1, and then South Carolina is certainly right there.
Let's talk Florida for a minute. Again, they hit the daylights out of the baseball tonight. Bobby Bozier, Brody Donay, Hayden Yost all hit home runs. None of them were really particularly cheap. They threw a guy that I wasn't familiar with in middle relief after Billy Barlow gave him basically 2 pretty respectable times through the order. Rough start for him. The Rowland kid I had not seen throw before. And this is what happens in the SEC tournament. I think that's what just amazes me about the quality of baseball in this league is you see the arms that you don't see during the year. And you're like, who's this guy? And they're 95 and a decent secondary pitch. And saw a couple of those guys tonight for both sides, to be honest.
Well, in addition to that, and I will say this, I think Bobby Bozier's uniform has been dirty every single game he's ever played since he was 7, because that guy's just a ball player you want on your team. I mean, hitting atop the lineup, playing in the middle infield, just being a dude, man, just being a ball player. And I say that not for a lack of adjectives, but for my praise of calling somebody a ball player. And Bobby Bozier is that.
What's the ETA on when they get him back? On when they get Shelton back? Excuse me. Ben Hodge is asking in the chat.
I'm not positive. He's also asking just what Florida will look like when they get him back. Well, they're gonna. I mean, if he's remotely healthy, I mean, they're going to be even more dangerous. Again, I say it all the time, but it's a fact. Like he was leading the conference in doubles when he went down. So if they get him back, especially NCAA tournament time in what 5-6 days, whatever it is, that they could be even more dangerous.
Yeah,
I don't think
he
they're
really improved his draft stock too.
Yeah.
This year.
Chris, do we file this win similarly to what we filed Alabama, in that there's not a whole lot to gain, but there was a whole lot to lose for Florida because South Carolina was out of it? But I mean, Florida's tickets punched. They got to 15 and 14 in the league with the rain out. They're as hot as anybody else, not only in the best league in America, but potentially in the country, going 12-3 down the stretch. I mean, in league play, it's just they carry a season win over Florida State. They played a good non-conference and held their own. I mean, Florida's going to be a handful regardless.
I would say what Florida mostly has to lose potentially is more players, and hope it doesn't happen. I think Florida is a 2. There's no way Florida's going to drop to a 3 under any circumstance. And it's just, can it play itself into a 1 under what would be unprecedented circumstances? Because you've never seen a team that went 500 in the league host a regional before. But if you talk about the injuries, if you talk about, all that stuff, let's say Florida gets to the weekend or wins the thing, better yet, then I think you have to talk about the Gators as a host and at least put them on the board.
Yeah, that's why, man, they got a big one tomorrow too. By the way, Ole Miss just announced that they're starting Hunter Elliott against Florida.
Oh, okay.
So, like, to me, that tells you that this is a game that both of these teams want for kind of different reasons. Ole Miss is wanting to host, and Florida is trying to, either like be a 2 seed or potentially host themselves. So that's a big matchup for both of those teams tomorrow. By the way,
Has Florida announced? I mean, would they hurry Aiden King up? Because buckets, man, a second round Aiden King versus Hunter Elliott is must-see TV.
King through Saturday, right? Or Friday. They're not going to bring King back. Now, I think maybe you could see Peterson tomorrow. That would be, 6 days rest?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, and Florida, like tonight, Bozier played short. Landon Stripling played third. It was not a guy they would normally use. I mean, Shelton would move back to short. Bozier could go to third. Mm-hmm. And then their lineup, I mean, gosh, Brendan Lawson's even played some second this year with Curlin out. He's done. So I guess they would line up Bozier and oh, good grief. And Shelton on the left side with who would they? Justin Nadeau has been playing second lately with Lawson at first. Now, I believe Blake Sear played short at South Florida last year, correct? But if he's not been there yet, then I don't think that's happening. Ben says Florida announced Liam Peterson. So we get a Friday night starter matchup tomorrow morning, guys, or tomorrow evening.
Yeah, on a Wednesday in Hoover. So this game is 8:00. Probably going to be more like 9:30 Central Time.
Because Mississippi State and A&M is going at what, 9:30 tomorrow?
Correct, in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. It occurred to me today. I was doing radio in Alabama, and they were asking me, and I was like, man, this tournament has just sneakily snuck up on us with more storylines than I remember in a while. in terms of stuff that matters. I think you've got potentially a couple of pending coaching changes. I mean, State's going to name a new coach. That one's already been done. But we could see something happen at South Carolina and Texas A&M. Yeah, I thought we might be doing this stream with both those guys having coached their last game. We're not there yet, but could be. You've got State hitting a heater and getting hot. You've got the can they host storylines with Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida needing to do various things to get there. I mean, guys, there's more going on in this tournament than I remember in a while.
Yeah. And one you didn't mention was Kentucky. Like they really, really needed to win today. So now you got to wonder, like what their future is. Their RPI is solid. Like it's on the right side of 50. No SEC team is going to be left out when you're on the right side of the top 50. So we'll see. They still only got 29 wins.
I think my two biggest takeaways, one is that we've gone this long and letting Chris say sneakily snuck up in a sentence when you're using the verb and the adverb in connection to each other. But secondly, how does these schedule changes, because now Auburn doesn't play until Thursday. So that reloads Auburn's entire pitching repertoire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which I think makes the bottom bracket more interesting. I'll tell you what, for A&M it sucks. Because whatever little chance A&M had of winning this whole thing, it just took another hit.
Yeah, and I don't know what the weather forecast is for tomorrow either, but we know rain. I mean, it's May in the South, man. It can be sunny for 8 hours, and then here comes tornado watches. They could sneakily sneak up on you.
It's been a long day, Jay Greason.
I'm pulling it up right now to see what the weather is like in Hoover tomorrow.
But I agree with what Chris had to say, that this the delay doesn't change what A&M is going to try to do pitching-wise, but it does hurt their pursuit, because I think we all agree for them to have any chance come Monday, they got to be playing on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
By the way, no rain the rest of the week in Hoover.
I mean, I say it hurts them. They're going to throw Caden Wilson, right? I mean, it might push their other guys back a little bit more in terms of rest. Now, what it doesn't help is their bullpen. But, I mean, you better get 7, 8, 9 innings out of all your starters, which they're capable of doing, by the way.
Are they going Prager tomorrow? What are they doing?
No, they're going Caden Wilson tomorrow.
Okay.
Who's one of their more effective bullpen guys.
Wonder
and
what
did pitch a good number of innings.
Wonder what that thought process is.
I think it was, we probably got to win a lot of games and we better get our starters back to normal rest. We got a better shot to win it that way. In other words, roll the dice, hope you hit it well with Caden Wilson and whoever else, and then you're going to need Prager, Lampkin, and Miles Patton to each pitch well, and probably, I mean, if you got to win 5 games, I think, if you win 2, it does you no good, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to win 4 or 5, you're probably better off rolling the dice with your bullpen, which in Hoover too, that's the thing. It's less taxing on pitchers because, I just watched a fly ball tonight. I don't remember, it was Blake Jackson or somebody on South Carolina hit it and got to the edge of the warning track. It was a pretty easy play for the center fielder. I was like, most SEC ballparks, cross Vandy off the list and maybe a couple of, that's like a home run. And it was just a routine fly ball at the Met. And I'm just like, it's so much easier to pitch here. And so you might be able to get more volume out of some of your bullpen guys. You might see career high starts in terms of innings and stuff like that. And then if you get, as bad and as erratic as they've been, but if you get your 3 starters who are all excellent starters, they didn't have the year we thought they would, but they're all potential pro pitchers, particularly the first 2. Lampkin and Prager are still prospects, probably top 5 round guys if you just draft according to ability. I don't fault it. I think that's the right thing to do under the circumstance.
Yeah. This is why I like conference tournaments, because it gets weird on the mound. Like for a lot of teams, like you just kind of see stuff you don't really see during the regular season. By the way, Ben Hodge with a really good question. What do we think about the single elimination format in the tournament? Seems like every game has been mass so far. Wasted time for the higher seeds.
I mean, I don't know if you can really put that on the format as much as 2 of the 3 lower seeds had all but packed it in. I mean, South Carolina was cooked and Missouri was cooked in February. So, yeah. I mean, I get his point. His question is valid and fair. And I'm certain they'll reevaluate it depending on the revenue, either from ticket sales or TV eyeballs, moving accordingly, because that's the reason they make these decisions. I mean, and in truth, one of the things that, and I meant to talk about it earlier, but you guys were kicking around Wi-Fi stuff, and Chris was trying to come up with objectively objective in his diction of his attempt to offend Noah Webster in the dictionary as we know it. But I think next year we need to remember that when these things roll about, every time we talk about how motivated will some of these teams be, I think your elite coaches will show up with their dudes ready to play, believing they can win.
I would push back on one thing, Ben. I think Kentucky just ran into a really talented back end of the Oklahoma bullpen that brought its A game today. Like, I was really impressed with Jamie Hitt. I hadn't seen him throw that much. 95, 96 with a fastball, got secondary pitches, was throwing strikes. We know Crooks is super talented. And then the kid they started, is talented too. Skip Johnson's got some dudes that get to throw some gas. He finds pitchers and develops them. Sometimes we don't always see it till the end of the year. I mean, we saw it in the College World Series in 21. Now, one of those kids hadn't been available all year, in Cade Horton. But, I mean, that's not a storyline that's totally out of left field with Oklahoma.
We also need to really tip the visor to a pitcher with the last name Hitt being a dude today and a hitter with the last name Walk leaving the building. I mean, those are 2 quintessential baseball names, but neither one of them lived up to it. One dude hit a home run and the other guy didn't. I think he allowed 1 hit.
Yeah.
And in honor of Pete Rose's reinstatement, they started Trey Gamble in left field.
There you go. But, man, don't even get me started on that tangent.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear what you got.
Well, I have written and said forever, both on radio shows and in columns forever, that the definition of a lifetime ban should be when his lifetime's over. But anybody who is putting a flag in Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, if you've ever been to the Hall of Fame, there are countless references to Pete Rose already in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was the only decision baseball could make now that they've gotten in bed with the gambling culture of today's professional sports, in my opinion. I mean, they're taking millions of dollars from DraftKings and FanDuel. But the conversation, it's the one inalienable rule in sports, and it's in every major league locker room.
Yep.
Period. Yep. I mean, if you've ever been in, whether you're talking about Oakland, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland. It is in every locker room, and it's listed first in every single one. You cannot bet on baseball.
You also can't miss it. It's in every minor league ballpark too.
Yep.
And I get the CYA decision, and I don't want to get too off the rails here because I can speechify about this for hours. But all of sports, college, professional, at every level, minor leagues, as you mentioned, Graham, this is going to have to be something that they juggle because they now have embraced the gambling culture. I mean, you can't speak out of both sides of your ear hole.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama might have had a different guy in the dugout today, if not for
Well,
gambling.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because now, I mean, if you think you can get away with it now with the algorithms that the gambling sites, I mean, look at Jonte Porter, the NBA player with the Denver Nuggets, who was betting, who cost himself $10 million contract, $5,000 on his over-unders.
And he's going to prison for it, Jay.
And if I had to guess, Adam Silver and the NBA are going to do everything in their power to make certain it's as long as legally possible that he's behind bars, because that's your detriment these days. Not only are you going to be banned and cost yourself millions of dollars, you are going to do time.
Yeah. To like, I guess, wrap this portion up, I'm in Marion, Illinois. That's where Pete Rose was in prison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bet they have him in the Marion State Penn Hall of Fame up there. I mean, because then he could sign like a couple of cards, and I mean, now the interesting names to me are Joe Jackson and Eddie Seacott. A lot of people don't know that Eddie Seacott pitched 14 years and had like a 2.3 ERA and was maybe the best pitcher of his generation until he got kicked out of baseball. Well, he was up there with the elite. He's not going to be the best because those guys were throwing grapefruits, and a 2.3 ERA is like a 4.1 now. So,
yeah.
How much of 8 Men Out do we think was real, and how much do we think of it was Hollywood?
Ooh. See,
I don't know the right answer.
I view things as like, you get one story, you get the other. What's the truth? Probably somewhere in the middle.
Wasn't it based on Isaac Asimov's book?
I think so.
Yeah.
There are some undeniables, and the undeniables are Joe Jackson had the highest average in the series.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson had the only home run in the series. Eddie Seacott got shelled in game 1. Buck Weaver, who was played by John Cusack in 8 Men Out, went to his deathbed saying he never took a dime, and Kennesaw Mountain Landis believed him. But as a baseball historian and a guy who's read up on a few of this, he ended up getting kicked out because he didn't turn the rest of his teammates in.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the biggest historical inaccuracy of all of this in terms of film was that Ray Liotta hit right-handed in Field of Dreams as Shoeless Joe Jackson, who hit lefty professionally.
Gosh, Ray Liotta's gone too, by the way.
Oh, and hey, Norm from Cheers kicked the bucket today.
Oh, that today. Good grief.
Had to be psoriasis of the liver, right? I mean, you can't drink that many beers and get much past 78.
Well, we've gone off track here.
Well, that's what happens when it rains.
That's right. This is our rain. Well, hey, takeaways from today. Florida continues to just really impress. Peterson and who's Auburn starting?
I'll see if I can find it. I doubt it would be Dutton, just because they probably are safe and secured.
But they won't have to announce because now they've got an extra 24 hours.
Yeah.
It should
that
go
helped.
Cade Fisher. Did Fisher throw at the end of the weekend? Plus, you get the storylines with that one.
You do?
Yeah. The Florida transfer, obviously, but yeah.
All
What do you
right.
got
They
tomorrow?
got the second game of the day, and I haven't seen anything one way or the other on who's starting.
So I guess what happens now? Um, so Auburn moves up to Thursday.
Yeah, they play at noon on Thursday.
Noon,
Noon Eastern on
noon.
Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do LSU and Arkansas? They don't move that up to Thursday, do they?
No.
So we'll get 3 games on Thursday.
We get 4 games tomorrow. It's Texas A&M, Mississippi State at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. Alabama, Tennessee at 1:30 Eastern. Oklahoma, Georgia at 5:30 Eastern. And then Florida, Ole Miss starting at 9 o'clock Eastern, allegedly, playing into the wee hours of the night for everybody coming home from the bar.
So then Auburn goes into the Texas TBD spot on Thursday. Or no, they could just start early in the morning.
Yeah, they'll start at
first game,
noon
yeah.
with Texas playing whoever gets to them and Vanderbilt playing whoever gets to them after that. And that ends Thursday with Arkansas and LSU playing Friday.
Yeah, I mean that's where the tournament format. People have said, "How do you like the format?" I said, "Let me get through a tournament and see it." That's where we stand to benefit a little bit. Is some built-in time. Sam says Carolina's been making phone calls behind the scenes. I've heard. Graham, fair to say that that's not a surprise.
Yeah. Not a surprise at all. So if you're a Tennessee fan, that could potentially impact you if South Carolina goes the route of hiring an assistant, aka Elander. I know he came
Yeah,
pretty close. He came pretty close, um, but obviously Ray Tanner hired Paul Mainieri.
Ben says they should hire the North
That's fine.
Greenville head coach, which is Landon Powell. I've heard good things about him too.
Yeah. So
Where do you play? Like to know, because I have a friend in athletics in one of those in your conference.
yeah, Sam just said Elander got a call allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
as
I
well he
guess if
should.
there's a knock on Elander, it's just his age. Like he's well thought of. He's liked, respected, all that stuff. He's been a really big part of what Tennessee's been able to do. But hey, Ole Miss did it with Mike Bianco back in the day. He was 30 when he got the Ole Miss job. Now the difference is he was the head coach for 3 years before he got the Ole Miss job.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam's shocked I have friends. Who knew?
Hey, what's the over-under on Chris Lee ice creams today? Because I put money on FanDuel at 4.5.
It's a lot of ice cream.
I had gosh, I think I only had one.
Oh, stop.
What
I
flavor?
did.
What'd you go with?
I got one of those vanilla ice cream bars with the chocolate coating.
Uh,
The reason I did it, I was like, I'm gonna have to throw down some caffeine.
Really?
No
That's-
energy drink today?
No, that's not the reason you did it. The
Dr.
reason you
Pepper
did it
ads
is
were
ice
working
cream.
on me.
No,
What's
no, no. Nobody in their right mind looks up and goes, I need a caffeine jolt. I'm going to get some
No,
ice
no,
cream."
I was saying I was trying to limit the amount of bad stuff I put in today.
Get a cup of black coffee. Come on now.
That's what I might do in the morning. Okay. Ben's a swimmer. Cool. Hey, Ben, glad you're with us, man. I know a Ben Hodge, and I just it assumed all along it was that guy. So,
Wow. Now Chris has 2 friends, and they're both named Ben Hodge. Go figure.
Who knew? Yeah. I get that's referring to the Elander part. I don't think they've made a lot of friends. Elander seems to be the level-headed guy in that bunch, though, just from my seeing him on TV. Sam would know better than I would.
Yeah, but if you're looking,
it
go
comes
ahead.
down. Well, it comes down. Well, man, if they want to win, like they're going to hire whoever they want. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
And if you're looking to reboot, which this would assuredly be with the short leash, this reboot, nobody can complain within the 865. Everybody's real happy about the reputation Tony V has had because he's made Tennessee baseball not only relevant but nationally interesting.
Yeah. Oh. You know what I did?
Uh-oh.
We had the same reaction. I don't know. I don't know if he saw Sam's comment that the live stream isn't working or what. But Sam made that comment, and then poof, Chris disappeared, and now he's back.
Yeah, I hit the wrong setting.